On the show today, it is totally unscripted, totally unfiltered. We really have no idea what we're going to do, but I know we're going to talk about monkeypox because that is important to me, and I like the way the word sounds. You don't want to miss all the things we discuss today. Stick with us. Welcome into this week's edition of Alabama Unfiltered. I am one of your hosts, Scott Beeson. Amy Beth Shaver is with me. Allison Sinclair is also here. Don't forget, you can find this podcast at all your favorite places over at the Apple Store or iTunes or Spotify or Rumble or YouTube. Why are you looking that way, Allison?
Because I always want to say Podbean, but I don't think
possibly
we're on there.
at Podbean. It may not actually be at the Apple Store, like I said.
Our listeners will let us
on
know
iTunes.
if we're not there.
But that's iTunes. I said the Apple Store. Isn't that
Same
two different
thing.
places? Same thing? Whatever?
No one knows.
I think
Good.
you find
Well, we've got a big show. So if you enjoy the podcast, which I'm sure you will, you can find it all the regular places. Tell your friends about it. Tell your family about it. Give us a thumbs up, 5 stars, all of those things, because it is because of you that this show is growing by leaps and bounds. So ladies, how are y'all?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Are y'all in a hurry? Speed round? What is this? What did you say the show was going to be like today,
I don't
Allison?
know. I'm exactly not sure what's going to happen.
You got your timer?
We've never done this before. Yes.
And you want to time the topics.
So we just decided that we just needed a day where we just talk about what's on our minds. And so
Okay.
we have no clue what each of us want to talk about. And but I am going to
I don't
set
usually have a clue what you want to talk about,
No,
no
but
matter
that's
what
what
the
makes-
day is.
It might be
even when we have a
lipstick.
plan, exactly which jacket.
It might be
fits.
the zombie
Y'all don't. They don't.
apocalypse.
The people out there do not. Y'all don't know what I go through for
He's
y'all.
about to roast us.
Just I've learned all kind of stuff. I know about makeup and lip gloss and jackets
Where to
and what
find
matches.
them.
And we've done enough
and what's the-
podcasts together that we're starting to now coordinate without
Yes,
trying,
absolutely.
which is spectacular. Okay.
So y'all wore black and white, and I wore
But I really
green.
Like I usually
stripes.
come strolling in with. Well, y'all can't see. I have on jeans, but I really don't wear sweatpants. But I want to. But today I was like, I'm going to be professional like Amy Beth, and I'm going to wear
Came
my
in all
blazer. to
business
show-
attire.
And you
She's
did
got
not wear your blazer.
Shazam Wonder Woman.
It's okay.
Which is it? What?
Look,
What
it
is
was in
the
a store in
messaging?
Florence, Alabama. Hello, Florence, Alabama. Don't know the name of the store.
So it doesn't have a meaning.
And we went rush shopping for my niece, and
That
while
means
she
you're
didn't have
shopping in
any
a
luck,
hurry?
actually, she's going to Auburn, and she's going to be in a
Yeah, I
sorority.
missed that completely.
That was good, Scott. That was really
I
good.
thought
That was
you
good.
were serious. I
I
was slapping
was.
the table.
He's not
That was
serious.
good.
So she didn't find anything, but I did.
I think they call it recruitment.
Oh, is it
Now.
recruitment
It's
now?
not-
What?
It's not rush. It's
My girls
recruitment?
didn't do it. I know nothing about it. I was happy to help in the dress shopping
Right.
and find some things for
Yourself?
moi.
For moi. Yeah.
Like it.
That's the way shopping works.
And
so
I
you
showed
don't.
it to
So
Chris,
it
and
doesn't
he was
mean
like,
anything.
thumbs up.
Does Chris ever say? He never says like.
Yes,
That's
he does.
terrible.
Yes,
does he
does.
really?
Oh, yeah. Or the kids. They're like, Mom, you cannot.
What's the guideline there? What happens?
If
Do they
it's
say it makes you
hideous-
look too old? Makes you look too
Yeah, that's a good
young? Because
question.
I'm
So-
wondering about that.
Yeah.
Not that y'all are older yet.
He's tiptoeing on eggshells right now.
But I'm wondering
Let's see
about the
how this goes.
guidelines, like what you can wear, what you can't wear. You can't look like you're trying to look like your teenage daughter. Can
true.
you?
That's true.
At what age does that quit? I mean, women have a lot of decisions, a lot of things to worry about. I don't really care that much.
You know what? I decided last year when it was Emmy's wedding that the dresses, you just wait. Y'all just wait till your kid gets married and you want a pretty dress and they show you to this section that looks like the headline should be out to pasture. That's what it should say.
They just took you right there.
And so while Emmy found she had thousands of dresses to choose from, you know, the mom section is better off dead. And so I say out loud in one of the stores, I'm not dead yet. And
they
so
said you
that
can get
is-
free coffee down at the Hardee's.
you just go down there and get you a little sunshine card and discount. Anyway, I was like, not today, Satan. And so I don't know the age where most people give up, but I'm about to be 50 and I'm going to kick
And
it
you're
in the
not
face.
giving. You're not giving.
I'm
up.
not giving up.
To what? 60,
This does not look like
65?
you're giving up.
100.
No, she's got the
She's
sparkly.
ready to
She's
go.
bedazzled with
Yeah.
the.
A pageant girl never dies. So if there's
Any
sparkles,
kind of
grommets, a Shazam, something, you know what? I don't
Shazam.
care.
What's a Shazam?
That's what the logo is. It's like
Shazam.
Shazam, Wonder
Yeah, from
Woman.
the-
I thought you meant it was like
Anyway,
a machine.
So I did send it to Chris because it was in a store, and I was like, "Is this okay?" And he was like, "I love it."
Very good.
Yeah, like I can even show you the thing, but I won't. But it's on here.
Right.
that I did ask him.
To prove that you asked him.
Yeah, because sometimes he's like,
What does he say that you don't get? Like if he says, maybe not.
How about this? When I met you, you dressed like you were 35, even though you were only 23.
Okay.
And how about let's not do that anymore? That kind of thing. We've had those conversations.
Wait, let's don't dress
Like when I was 23 and I dressed like I was 35,
Right,
he
'cause
thought
you were
that was
being modest.
cool.
Right.
Whatever. And now we've decided.
Now he's like saying, don't continue
Don't
to dress
go ahead and
15
dress.
years ahead of your time.
That's exactly right. That is the best way to put it.
Okay. I can
Do you
see
feel that way?
Because he says, look,
You're
you're not
young
old
and fresh.
yet.
It doesn't
Right.
matter. Doesn't matter. She's fresh.
I usually get it like if I come out in something that's too poofy, like ruffles will get me roasted every time.
Are you
Really?
for the ruffles?
Any kind of ruffles,
Okay.
any kind of like floral pattern, my family will just maybe it's because I normally just wear black and white and denim.
Black and white's safe.
But there is a balance. It's hard when you get to be our age where you're not ready to go out to pasture, which those dresses are like out to pasture with sequins.
Yeah.
Like they throw some
true.
sequins on there and think it'll be better.
Not so bad. It's
And
horrible.
But
Oh,
it's
just chalk this as another 5 minutes that I'm glad I'm a guy. That's tough. I mean, that's a lot of tough stuff to
what is
talk
it when
about.
your wife goes out and you're like, or does she just you don't say anything?
No. It'd be a
Do
good
you
way
not
to, it'd be a good
notice?
way to die. I notice, yes. If it looks good, I say it looks good. But if
Okay.
it
Well,
doesn't
Jared's
look good,
still
I do not
alive, and
say.
Chris is still alive.
I don't say.
Yeah.
Really?
No. I mean, she's good at picking clothes. I mean, that's kind of her thing. She was a designer, all that
Oh,
kind
so
of
she
stuff.
knows all the things.
So she kind of knows all that kind
He's
of
saying
stuff.
we're bad.
No,
I think that's what he
I'm
was
not. I
saying.
did not say that at all.
How about,
or
Laura, you
I'm a
text us
bigger
and let us
chicken
know.
than your
You're
husbands
not. I
are.
don't think you are.
It's possible.
But ruffles will get you roasted.
Ruffles or
Yeah,
a pattern
do you
that looks
remember-
like an old couch.
Do you remember when I wore the shirt and I kept saying, "Do I look like a pirate?"
Yes, because
Jared
on the
didn't
show,
see me leaving that.
you
and I
were
was
in
like,
the podcast with me saying she's a pirate.
The pirate, yeah, because that's what I get if it's too poofy.
I got you.
Anyway, I don't even know how we got here. Oh, the shirt,
Scott,
the fabulous
skirt.
shirt.
But okay, so I know how to segue.
Yes.
So
Okay.
what mask would match y'all's clothing?
You know
Because
what?
we're getting
Wait, should
ready
I
to
start
do it
the
all
timer?
again.
Yeah, start
because
the
I'm
timer.
cutting us off after 5 minutes.
We
or
did
we
like
won't end.
8 minutes of clothing, and now you're going to
Yeah.
do the timer for
All right.
actual
That was good.
I have
topics
the mask.
that
And
matches
I
that.
ordered it off of Amazon
Okay.
right before the airline canceled the mask mandate because we were going to have to fly somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It says, hold
She
on.
forgot.
My patience,
She remembers
my
every bit of the
patience
shopping trip.
has been tested and it is negative.
Oh,
And so I
like
was
it.
going to wear that. And the other mask I have is black and white. And it says this mask does nothing. Those black and white masks would match because apparently our state health officer has decided that he needs to normalize masking.
What is he doing? Give me the update. I thought we were done with masks. I had to go to get a physical the other day. The doctor's office had the mask sign.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it looks kind of cruddy and old, like all the mask signs that are left on everything. So I'll just start. Well, this young couple, well, first I chickened out. I said, I'll go to the car. Thankfully, I did not have a mask. There was not a mask crammed anywhere. I didn't use a mask like to check my oil. So there's
Shocked
nothing.
and disappointed. You actually said, I'm going to go
was
back.
I
Subservient.
choked. I was in a hurry, and I knew if I went in, and the little mask Nazi lady would say, "Where's your mask?" And
They're
then
gonna hand it
then
back.
I would say, "Oh no, they had another cruddy sign that said we're out of free mask."
Oh.
So I'm like, okay, maybe I have an old towel in the car I can wrap around my
Sure.
head.
Yeah.
This young couple walks in, and they immediately come back out, and I said, "The mask?" And they said, "Oh yeah, they're serious about it."
Oh
But
my
they had
gosh.
theirs. So I had to leave, missed that whole time, messed up the whole day, had to come back in the afternoon, all because
What?
this one little doctor's office had the mask thing. And I was like, God, will this never end? It will never end. For some people, it will never, ever end. So now the state is back to it.
But you complied. You went back
Because I
and gave
had
them your
to
business.
for a job.
Everyone.
It was important.
Okay, but at some point,
You have to take a stand.
I mean, yes.
I've probably taken a stand more than anybody on the anti-mask, but there's some things you have to, like ride the airplane. When you had to have it, you had to have it.
Here's
right?
the situation. My husband refuses to wear a mask in the hospital and where they scope and because they don't work and we know they don't work.
Right.
And it's really hard to tell people they don't work. However, when Deborah Burks, who was the scarf lady, invented the whole COVID situation. You know, she's written a book.
Yes.
And she fessed up that all this was garbage. So
15 days to stop the spread, garbage
she
made
said
up, right?
that they needed 2 weeks to stop the spread. Birx and Fauci, I'm quoting from her, pulled these ideas out of their behinds.
She said that?
Wait, she
Not
said
from
that?
not from any actual science like the duo originally claimed. Furthermore, Birx now admits that she lied to the former president about what was needed in order to flatten the curve. No sooner had we convinced the Trump administration to implement our version of the 2-week shutdown than I was trying to figure out how to extend. She boasts in her memoir, which fully incriminates her. That's from the Natural News from yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lie.
Well, it's been a lie.
I mean, most of us knew that.
We knew it was a
But
lie.
then you were hung in the town square if you said that out loud.
Right.
You really think your grandma's hand-sewn crocheted mask? I'm like, the classic, if you can smell a fart, you can still get COVID.
Right.
It's true.
I prefer the drywall dust example.
Okay, well, if you can
but-
smell the baking apple pie or whatever you want to make it sound better, like spray some aerosol hairspray.
Mhm.
Can you still smell it with the mask on 3 feet away? Yeah. I mean, what the...
Well, see, then they're fixing that now because I saw Fauci going out saying we really need to make people wear masks, but it needs to all be N95s and K9. That doesn't sound like Fauci, does it? Sounds like Fauci's older brother.
So Fauci.
You're in the mob
Fauci
now.
Stallone. But so now it's going to be, oh no, you got to have the special mask, the very expensive mask that also does not work.
So
Correct?
that's correct. They don't work. If you look at Ian Miller, who's the guy that he's got the book called Unmasked, and you can find it on Amazon. He charted, that's all he did, was charted the spread with mandates, states without mandates, compared them. He's got a book out that I think it's sold out. It's amazing. I haven't ordered it yet, but I followed his charts the whole
Right.
time through. And they literally, masks are no good. It does not do anything to stop the
The
spread.
good
and they
ones, the bad
followed
ones, the grandma
Germany
ones, the none of
straight
it.
up N95s, and they are skyrocketing. Other countries in I don't know if it's South Korea or where, same thing. Following the charts, following the N95s, doesn't do anything.
Nothing.
No, skyrocketing cases. Look at Los Angeles, California right now. Nothing.
And the people who tried to say that 2 years ago were
Y'all totally
shut
missed the
down.
timer. Or you're just
How about
ignoring
7
it?
minutes?
7 minutes.
Okay, you got
But we
2
haven't
more
even
minutes.
That's a
started
biblical
we haven't even
number.
started the topic yet because we're going to talk about Scott Harris and the state of Alabama and
Well,
bring it back.
go
to
ahead. You talk about Scott. So that's all.
No, you tell me about Scott.
No, I don't want to tell you about Scott. I'm
I
just
don't
telling
want
you
to
that
talk
he's
about it
trying
because
to
the 5 minutes is up.
He's normalizing masking, and that's not okay.
Why? Has he just been out of the news too long?
Well, and then Kay Ivey,
Kay Ivey tell
all
him
of a
to?
sudden decided that she didn't want to associate with Scott Harris. Did you see that? She said, Rocky Mountain oysters. Somebody will eat Rocky Mountain oysters. All right. This is
You did
legit.
say
Her
it.
This is her.
spokesperson said,
I got
yes.
it.
Somebody will eat Rocky Mountain oysters before there's a new mask mandate in Alabama. And it's like, does everybody forget that she's the one
She
that
forgot.
did
She forgot she's the one
I
who
guess
did
she
it.
did. She closed our
Well,
businesses.
maybe she learned. She could.
No,
Maybe
it
she
just
did
doesn't
learn.
work in her favor to do a mask mandate again. She's going to do whatever benefits her the most. And for whatever reason, maybe it's the pushback from people like us. Like she realizes maybe she read Dr. Burke's book and knows that they don't work. I don't know what it is,
Right.
but something now is working to her advantage for her to go against Scott Harris, which is interesting because they've always been in cahoots. But maybe he's a liability.
Why does it matter now? I could see her making that decision before the primary. Is that y'all
Okay,
talking to
this
each
is
other?
This is my. Should we answer Jennings?
Sure, on the show. Why not?
Jennings, you're live on the podcast. We're filming, so don't talk about anybody. You're at. Okay, I gotta go. She's shopping. Do you need Amy Beth?
Have fun shopping. I love that place.
This is literally going to be on the podcast. Okay, I'll have to call you back. Okay, bye.
I love it.
Oh wait,
You're right. You said it was a bit.
now our
mostly about
timer's
nothing.
going.
Okay, next time. Okay, all right.
All right, so
It's
that
y'all's turn for a topic.
unfiltered, unscripted. If I hear the timer go off and have my ringer on, then Jennings calling me
means it's
about my
important.
shoes.
It's important.
Ironically.
All right. So here is a topic that I saw. Somebody screenshotted it from Libs of TikTok official.
Oh, gosh.
And it is because school starts in 3 weeks on July 9th through the 12th. They had the Association of School Counselors national meeting and they screenshotted it. And the question is, which this is so offensive. Let me say it in my best counselor voice.
I can give you the
What does
Fauci
it
Stallone
mean
voice.
to be white?
What does it mean to be white?
Belonging. White folks see themselves reflected in every area of society deemed normal, neutral, or prestigious. Their freedom from the burden of race, whiteness is so dominant and pervasive in our society that white people, you two, as I am, fail to see themselves clearly and often consider themselves to be
In case we
without
weren't sure.
race.
That would be you two people.
White folks, and me until about 5 years ago, and white folks are free to move in any space that is seen as normal, neutral, or valuable.
Oh, shoot. I forgot you were half.
I'm biracial, in case you
She's
didn't know.
just as
Yeah.
yes.
So
as-
wait, yeah, who do you go?
I'm a person, I
Right.
just identify as a person, and I was
Seems
glad
fair.
I was raised as a person,
I,
just
you know
like
what?
you
Years
were.
ago,
So
before I
interesting.
knew, I thought you were a person.
I'm so glad you thought I was a
It
person
really-
and not
it
a
was-
Muppet or anything.
No, I
Just
thought
like
you were
a-
a person.
Or a rabbit.
Furries is another topic.
So I just
That's
want you to
coming.
know, yes, it is. I just want you to know that this is what they were talking about at the National Association of School Counselors
So
national
not drug
meeting.
problems, not bullying, not any of those things. Whiteness
Yes.
and how whiteness is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, like if you go to China, whiteness isn't normal. So what do they do over there? Or if you go to Africa,
Mhm.
that's not the norm.
Yeah,
Or
but
if you go to Mexico, whiteness isn't. So this just applies to America?
Yes, only to America.
Okay.
Well, Europe
so it's
too.
not
I think
white
Europe
people.
too. Europe gets whiteness too.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so
Right.
just
Okay.
but like if we move, what my question for them is, if we move to Taiwan,
Where you're the minority.
where we're the minority,
Mhm.
do we still have all those
Apparently,
things,
yes.
even in a society that's not normalized to white people?
But Allison, even asking the question proves, because it's that circular reasoning with them, that you are a white supremacist because you're asking those questions.
because I'm unaware.
Yeah, because you're
Yes, 'cause
unaware.
you didn't
Yeah.
even
And you're
know what kind of
unaware, and
advantage
there's
you have.
nothing you can do to make up for your whiteness because you are terrible.
But I would think
But you also got to remember that whiteness is not
It's
the color of
terrible.
your skin.
That's right.
are there
Whiteness is your worldview. Whiteness is Western civilization. Whiteness is Christendom. That's
well,
what
I mean,
they-
people like Candace
And-
Owens
and that's
others
what-
are called
Yeah.
white supremacists.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A black white
Clarence
supremacist.
Thomas.
Yes.
So that's how they really get you, because they make us think, oh, you're just talking about how people look, how much melanin's in their skin, and is this, and they're really not. When you start seeing all these things about whiteness, there was the liberal professor who was upset because the White House was saying that Joe Biden was still working while he had COVID.
Yeah.
And that the idea of working while you were sick and having to work and put in 8 hours, that was whiteness. I'm like, number one, the White House is lying because Joe Biden's not working 8 hours. He can't manage 8 hours when he doesn't
Yeah.
have COVID. But the fact that just working while you were sick and making a big deal out of that as a work ethic kind
Yeah.
of thing was whiteness. And I was like, whiteness? And that's what people don't get, is that this whiteness argument really is a political argument. It's from
It's
the
not.
old Marxist, pit all these groups against each other. And Western civilization, the things that have made America great, all those things are whiteness. Showing up on time, the scientific method, nuclear family, Christian values, all those things are whiteness. And for folks who don't believe it, just go look up the handbook that the Smithsonian Institute put out last summer that was talking about a workshop for whiteness, and those things are all listed.
But you can be black but still have whiteness.
You can still
Yes.
be,
and
yes,
you can be Chinese
and still have whiteness.
and still have whiteness.
Yes. And that's what people don't get. Regular folks hearing all this conversation don't realize it is really a political tool.
Right.
It is. Well, and here's the deal. The enemy of our souls is here to divide, devour, and destroy. And that's all this does. Because it's extremely offensive to invent these things that are just specific to America. They're ridiculous. The fact that you're not allowed to ask them any questions about this, or you're pitted against the question you ask as if that proves something about you, is unbelievable. Or that somehow you are like, what? And the question that I want to ask is, what's the end result of this?
That 5 minutes went fast. I'm giving us another minute.
What are you supposed to do if you are white? What are they asking you to do out of this? What is their hope?
That's what I
never
can't
ends.
figure out is
Right.
what
There's no end
what has
game.
to be given up.
That's right.
If I just said, okay, fine, time out, stop. What do I got to do? What are the demands? Just tell me to make it all go away.
Yeah.
There's not an answer, is there?
I figured it's like die.
That's what
Die
I
and
always
go
come
away?
to. That's what I come to.
I mean, honestly, like just
Because reparations wouldn't be enough. I mean,
I just
From
I haven't
246
ever
years ago.
heard what the end game is. I haven't ever heard exactly how we can make it better. It's always you give an inch and then they ask for another one. And so I don't know, besides just disappear. I mean, maybe in America, if we literally abolish the government, all our founding documents, all our
and
ways
just
of life,
turned it into a
and
socialist
just
utopia.
started over
Yeah.
where whatever they want, maybe.
I
But-
kind of get
but-
the
but the
feeling
problem
that
is-
the part of it is, hey, how do we create a way that you people who believe in Western civilization, all those things, Scott Beeson, Clarence Thomas, Allison, Amy Beth, when y'all are in the minority and we've decided what culture is, then you can feel how it is not to be in charge. And I'm like, I don't want to live in the culture that y'all are talking about, because all the things that you keep saying are terrible have been great blessings to us. So maybe that's it. And then if we don't like it, then we can die.
But it never ends. It's like what we always, or I talk about maybe in my head. I think I've talked about it on here before, but we can never come together and find a compromise on how to do this, because we are coming from such different worldviews. When you have a biblical worldview, you acknowledge the world has fallen from the beginning, that life will never be fair. I mean, it's biblical. It's in read Ecclesiastes. It's all about getting up and working. And then look at Job, who did everything right, and still just really got taken through the ringer. I mean, it just happens, and we're never born. We're just never going to be equal.
Right.
But they think somehow in their humanistic beliefs that everything can be equal and good, and it just is totally false and unsustainable. Therefore, there is no end. Therefore, this just continues until.
But how
I don't know, they're tired.
But how does it keep going? Because I guess it keeps going, and why would they not perpetuate it? Is because they're winning with it. Well, they're doing well with it. Put
They
it that
are.
way. They're not necessarily winning, because I think that's part of the
Yeah.
beauty of calling it whiteness, is because if you go out and defend it, automatically you're defending whiteness. You must be a white
Isn't
supremacist.
that so wicked?
And it's brilliant, actually.
It is brilliant.
But that's the problem people have, is if you fight back, you're automatically a racist. If you say it's wrong, you're a racist. And then they've got that built-in thing you were mentioning, where if you didn't even realize it, that proves you were racist.
Yeah.
So, okay, another question. Is Joe Biden white? Does he have whiteness?
I think he
though he's
identifies-
I think he does have.
Well,
he
he's
does
like,
have whiteness.
but how do they view him? Because he is a champion for all of their causes, as far as I can tell,
Well, no,
from the White House.
I do think
But
we have to
does he get a
remember
pass?
that the people who are doing this are white leftists. They're the core
They're the
of
suburbia
this
moms
movement.
like
yes.
us.
Yes.
Yeah, you're
That's
right.
And
the
there's-
core power base.
Yeah.
Is white
Joe
liberals.
Biden does not have any white fragility, to borrow the.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what they call. He doesn't have that.
So he's already
So is
he's
he
cleansed
okay?
already. I guess he's
cleansed.
okay.
He's
done
But
okay.
he still got where he was going
Right.
because of whiteness
Apparently
and privilege. But he's
He's
I
learned.
mean, it's
He's
such
using it.
race Marxism. It is so, that whole sick power structure. It's unbelievable, because it's like you said, if you start from the biblical worldview and understand right from the beginning, we immediately ask, did God really say?
right.
So, okay, we want to be God. They've decided, well, we'll be God. And so we see that there's a problem. So we all acknowledge there's a problem, but they want to fix it. And their method is disastrous, and it will not end anywhere good. Also,
I agree.
I just can't believe that people even buy into it, but they do.
Well,
It's the next thing to buy
into. It makes people money. It makes people power. You can virtue signal with it. I mean, if you have a society that doesn't have Christian values, standards, things that God has said are right and wrong, and you're making it up as you go. We all have this innate desire to attach to something or worship something. And so all these crazy leftist ideas give people something to attach to and say, guess what? I've dealt with my whiteness, so I'm better than y'all do. Yeah. And that's kind of how it happens is virtue signaling, and it gives people a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
That maybe, we give them another idea.
We're way over.
Okay. Well, your turn. It's your turn.
I might just do away with I have a interesting, hopeful, good discussion article. I don't know if y'all saw today in AL.com. There's an Alabama teacher who taught first graders about Jesus. Oh. And they said that she was doing her job, the superintendent said. So she's from Moulton Elementary, and she was talking to first graders about, you like Moulton?
Yes, okay. I drive through there to go to the lake. Carry on.
Sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
So she was talking about Easter, and I guess she sent them home, like the tradition of Easter, and she sent them home maybe with some coloring sheets or something. And it said, it talked about Jesus Christ. There was a Bible verse, and it said Jesus is alive.
Okay.
Well, Freedom From Religion.
Ah, yes.
The group.
One of my favorites.
Went in and immediately asked for an investigation into this teacher.
Okay.
Well, the superintendent said, from my point of view, an investigation is not warranted. The teacher was doing her job. Every teacher in the state of Alabama is charged to thoroughly teach the course of study. Okay, interesting. Then he commented that according to objective number 11, Alabama's first grade course of study, teachers should, quote, identify traditions and contributions of various cultures in the local community and the state. Examples include Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah, 4th of July, Cinco de Mayo. Okay. Then objective 12 for the first grade course of study is to compare common and unique characteristics and societal norms, including age, religious beliefs, ethnicity, persons with disability, and equality between genders. He says, if Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa are in there, so also is Easter.
Good for him.
Interesting that he stood up for her. You don't hear that often. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious your thoughts on...
I'm thinking he may be an elected superintendent.
I mean, even elected superintendents don't always...
Yeah, no, but still...
Well, I guess it's refreshing to me. I'm trying to give him credit.
I'm giving him credit.
But if they are... So devil's advocate are just thinking, should they even be teaching about Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Cinco de Mayo? You can't have... This is my problem with the left. They want to be able to teach all their things, but they don't want the right to teach their things.
Correct.
So it's either all or nothing in my head. Are we at the point where it should just be nothing?
I'm for all of my side.
Okay.
Like it was for the first couple hundred years of this country. I'm being serious.
Okay, I mean
because we're the ones who gave in. We're the ones who used to have Christmas break at school. We used to get off for Easter. Everybody knew what those things were. There were Christmas trees. There were the 10 Commandments. There were prayers before school. All that kind of stuff. And somewhere along the line, we said, well, maybe everybody should. And then everybody should evolve to, well, everybody, but we should.
Right.
So now it would be perfectly okay to teach about Kwanzaa or Cinco de Mayo or whatever, right. and the Freedom From Religion Foundation wouldn't have any problem whatsoever. No. We could teach atheism, we could teach Satanism, we could teach all that, and it would be educational value. But you bring up Jesus, Easter, the resurrection, and they have a fit. So I'm kind of for going back and saying, why don't we just do it the old way? And then y'all spend your time begging us to teach a little bit about what you care about.
But that's not going to happen.
Well, it could.
You're an
in the
idealist.
Right places.
I mean, in the right places. So
I'm
wondering,
an aim small, miss small kind of person.
Well, I don't think that's realistic. So do you do away with all of it? Or do you somehow just continue to have superintendents to stand up and say, you know what, if we're teaching this, we're still going to teach Easter.
If that's the choice you give me, I'm for teaching it all. Okay. Because the truth will win out.
Okay.
But
What about you?
I still want to go.
Dear
further.
everyone, I'm taking my earbuds out again. Okay. They're just not working.
With you?
It's so irritating. I think that I can't.
Like
I
a
can't.
monkey.
No, I mean, literally,
Just
I
don't get the
can't
monkey
shove
pox.
them in
Is that
there.
next?
You
And
need different things.
I know.
Your things are too big.
Well, they are. And do I have time to change them? No, I
That's
don't.
what she said. Sorry. I was gonna say it earlier and I refrained. I had
Okay.
to. Okay.
All right, Allison's
never
gonna.
mind. I'm putting
We're
your
just
thing
gonna
down.
put them on the side. I think that if they want to teach everything, you have to be fair to teach everything. However, the Freedom from Religion needs to consider that if they are so freaked out about teaching Christmas, Easter, anything related to Jesus, they're also telling us everything they need to know. We need to know about it, that name Jesus means something.
That bothers them tremendously.
It bothers them tremendously, and they're convicted by it. Why else would they fight so hard against it? So thank you for telling us that there is something to it.
Right.
Even though you're trying to take it away,
Right.
somehow it just takes a licking and keeps on kicking because the Lord will not be stopped.
Now, aren't they the same people who came along and said we couldn't have prayers over the loudspeaker?
Oh, they're
Yeah.
always trying to stick
Right.
their.
And they're from Minnesota or somewhere.
Yes.
They must be miserable people.
Well, they are miserable
It's
people,
the
I'm pretty
same
sure.
people that are looking for problems around every single corner. They'll
Yeah.
find them.
Right.
But we did back down. We did capitulate. We were like, oh, okay, you have what you want. We don't want to offend anybody. Okay, well then, by what standard are things offensive? And if you're going to teach it, you got to teach it all
Right.
or nothing.
Yeah.
But the in between with them doesn't work. There is no in
No,
between.
I agree.
I just
That's
thought
why I
it was
don't think they're gonna
refreshing
compromise.
to hear a superintendent. It's kind
Go,
of like
Moulton.
the Gulf Shores mayor who stood up and said,
Yes.
we're not doing
refreshing.
death boats off the coast.
Right.
So refreshing, hopeful.
That's good. That's positive.
Yeah,
I'll give you
I'm
credit for
trying.
that.
I'm
Good
trying.
job.
I'm
That
really
is a
trying. I got one more
positive thing.
positive
What
story.
was his name, though? You didn't tell me who it was. You just left him as old
Whoever the
superintendent.
I don't know if AL.com
But
even
it
would
really
put his name
is
in the article.
so
Hold on.
refreshing that
Let's
he
give him a shout out.
did that.
Was AL.com crying about it?
They're in Madison, Wisconsin, by the way.
Mm.
I don't want to go there.
Oh,
Yeah.
John Brett Smith.
Thank you, John Brett
Good,
Smith.
the
good for him.
superintendent.
Good for him.
You know,
Absolutely.
all parents, how about just
Give him a little support up
give
there.
him some support?
Yeah. So
And
that
the
was
teachers.
encouraging.
That is good.
Yeah, that took a lot of bravery. Who would have thought? I mean, Moulton is tiny. Have you been to Moulton? It's tiny.
Yes, it's not a big place.
It's not a big place. So the very idea that Freedom from Religion had
Okay,
any
here's my
interest in it
question.
at all is crazy.
Question.
What's your question?
How did the Freedom from Religion Foundation people find out that the poor little first graders were being taught about Jesus?
Oh, I'm sure somebody from the school.
Somebody was upset.
Yeah,
Somebody went ratted.
Somebody from Moulton. I'm sure. Let's see if it says.
Can you believe that
It-
the Alabama Course of Study says you can teach about Christmas, Kwanzaa,
July 4th.
Cinco de Mayo? Was July 4th in there?
I thought July 4th was in
Okay,
there.
It did
July
say
4th,
4th of
Cinco de
July.
Mayo.
4th of July, yeah.
But Easter's not?
No.
That bothers
But
me.
I feel like the statement is like examples. Like
I agree. But if I was writing the list,
Right.
Easter would be in there.
Right.
Because I'm upset that half the schools don't take Easter a day off for Easter anyway.
Right.
But
But they should. We used to.
they should. Oh, yes, absolutely. We did.
It says
No
they'll
doubt about
take
it.
legal action if they're not satisfied with Smith's
Well,
response.
I've told you how to
Go
do that.
on with yourselves.
Take it.
Okay.
If we would quit paying, they'll stop.
You mean if we don't wear our mask and go back to the doctor's office? God be.
There's a long story,
Well
Okay.
played.
and I'll give it to you
Shame.
someday.
Well
shame.
played.
Shame
Shame.
on me.
Okay.
Shame
All
All right,
on
back
me
to you,
for
Scott.
going.
What you want to talk about?
I want to talk. Well, you were messing with her earpieces, and it was like a monkey, and I was thinking monkeypox, and I like to say that word. It's
You
just
do
one
like
of
to
my
say that
favorite
word.
words. I've said it like 10 times. Monkeypox. It just makes you laugh. It's
a stupid
It is
word.
a happy word.
But do you remember we joked about monkeypox? I think I've talked about this, like in February or March on the show. And
we break
laughed
news
about
here
it.
on Alabama Unfiltered.
And,
And it
we were like,
came
there's no
true.
way they're going to make that the scary
And the
thing because it's
furries
monkeypox.
we talked about
On
and
Alabama
now they're
Unfiltered.
in my middle school.
Can you
I
get
mean,
monkeypox from the furries?
You know what?
only if
Let's
you
talk
identify
about
as a monkey?
like
A male monkey.
how can you get monkeypox?
Your
Why don't you
same-sex-
share with
I
our
think
audience?
The best I can tell from information all over the world.
You and a
it
daddy
is-
monkey.
and another daddy monkey. Or
Okay.
that's how you get monkeypox.
Okay, so how many crises have there been that the government says, "Oh my gosh, this is really
This is
it.
the one that's going to get us.
This is the
Well,
one
they
that's
have
going to
called
get
it
us."
the pandemic, and I do know there are 2 children, which I want to know. I mean, I think you can get it from like I'm going to touch your pox.
They can.
Thank you, Allison,
I think that's
for that
illegal.
insightful.
Nobody
Bit
should
of
ever touch
information.
your pox. Just say
Did y'all
no.
get chicken pox when you were little?
Yes.
Yes.
My brother and I counted all of our. We were like in second grade, first grade.
See, I think
One.
it's the
Mark
same
it with a
thing.
Sharpie.
Yeah.
1,
One.
2.
I think it's this. I think you can. But how
From
do these
the-
kids get them?
Well,
Get it.
both the kids were definitely in close proximity with men who enjoy men. I'm trying
Wait,
to
you
say
know
it was-
that?
Yes, that's in the articles. Yes.
Okay.
Well,
So
you got
there's a
you have to
reason.
dig around,
It's
and
not
you bring up a
just
great story.
Jumping on children out of nowhere.
No, and you bring up a really good point. Number one, it shouldn't have been difficult for everyone to know that the children got it from members of the gay male community. Okay, that should have been what people said. Hey,
Okay.
this is how, because it keeps it focused in that community, which brings back up something I saw the other day. It was an article written in the 80s about HIV and AIDS. Bless you.
Yes, that's our first sneeze. I thought it was going to be me.
There's got to be one more.
I always.
How did you stop with one?
37 minutes. I'm sorry.
That's awesome. I thought I thought I was going to be the one that did.
Sorry, go back.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I was just saying that the whole idea of them saying, "Oh, now the children have it,"
Yeah.
that's designed to make Americans go, "Oh my gosh, the children can get it. We need to do everything we possibly can. Panic, panic, panic." That is exactly what it's for. And what is interesting, I ran across an article that was talking about when HIV and AIDS became big in the United States. Well, there were these news stories that came out and said, "Oh, by the way, there's multiple children, I think it was in California, who now have acquired it." And that's basically what the news story was. Everybody ran with children now have acquired HIV or AIDS. Children are now getting it. And America went into a panic.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that
Remember toilet seats?
And it was the jump from the homosexual community to everybody can get it. Your children can get
Yeah.
it. Panic, panic, panic. Well, this article is about what was left out of the news, even in the 80s. You know, they love to give us part of the truth. The news was the children got it from blood transfusions. They were in the hospital, and they think they got it from homosexual donors who had it. But they failed to tell America that when they were scaring them. So that brings us fast forward to COVID and all these things. And what are all the other ones they've tried with us?
So SARS-CoV-1,
Bird flu,
bird flu, swine flu, West Nile,
West
Oh,
Nile.
that was a good one.
What was the mosquito one? Zika?
Zika
Oh,
virus.
yeah.
Zika?
Yeah.
I mean, they have wanted a pandemic for years.
Right.
And so, as evidenced by Deborah Birx's comments from today in her own book, they lied. So, why in the world, when let's associate that right here in Alabama with the whole holding up that stupid N95 and when in doubt, put it on? Really? No, we're not going to listen to you. You've lost
Right.
all credibility. If AIDS had turned out like they said, it would have been horrific.
Right.
But it wasn't because they are not acquainted with the truth. They wouldn't know it if it punched them in the face.
Well, that's the problem is they keep telling us these half-truths, just enough to get people panicked, and COVID was the king of all kings on that.
Yes.
Well, what happens when the really bad one actually does show up? They've cried wolf so many times that people are not going to necessarily believe them. And so now we have the monkeypox thing. You got the, what's his name, Tedros or whatever at the World Health Organization saying it's an emergency. Did you know his committee that voted on it voted to not say it was some huge emergency? And he just overruled them.
So what's the end game here? I'm always thinking, like, what's the motivation? What are they going for? Just another
I think they just need
way
one
to
more,
control
just
people
one more
and scare
panic,
people?
one
Okay.
more. Hey, let's do this, and maybe it has to do with the elections that are coming up. We can't
Yeah.
we can't be going to the polling place. We're
I
going to have
think
those
that's an
mail-in
excellent
ballots
point.
again. Those kinds of things. Let's do the exact same thing. And why would they
But-
not try to do the exact same thing? It worked out.
It did.
And who's going to stop them? Republicans in Washington D.C.
But do you realize how pathetic that is? That
No.
they'd like to keep people in fear. Like, what kind of a human being likes to keep other people in constant fear?
There's more of
But
them than we think.
there are
Yeah.
more of them. There are more, as Rush Limbaugh used to say, the low information voter
Right.
that hears it and then runs and panics, gets bread, milk, and eggs, goes home and stays for a while.
And toilet paper now.
And toilet paper, if you can find it, and baby formula, if you can find that too. And that's the way they want it. It's Andy Andrews wrote a book, and it talked about how you just have to lie to people and make it big enough, believable enough, and people will say it over and over again, and they'll believe it.
And you gain power.
You do gain power.
It's-
So this is always about money and power and control. Always.
And then at every different level, there's a different set of power, like local health officials who knew the truth the whole time, right here in our, in the heart of Dixie, heart of God's country. They knew the truth and wouldn't tell us. No one knows it better than you and your family.
Do you think they knew?
Oh, I
Yes.
think there's no doubt in
Yes,
my
they
mind
knew.
that
Really?
health professionals knew
Absolutely
that so
knew.
much of this stuff was bunk. Absolutely.
And then you have, and so then what you have is they know this because you've got, like, I think I heard Jordan Vaughn say, we've got like 100 years of mask evidence. Like, we've got it. Brownstone Institute has this amazing compilation of 100 different studies on masks. And it's not all conservative. It is all across the board from all across the world. But then what you also have that people didn't incorporate in there is that physicians and their physician extenders are crunched for time.
Right.
There is no time to read. There's no time
Yeah.
to stop. The government has squeezed them so much
Right.
on what they'll repay them with Medicare, Medicaid. And then you have the health insurance companies coming in, and there is a whole system for how long you spend with a patient, what exactly you're supposed to do, how you write the codes.
Right.
And then you've got the insurance companies, and they never increase what they pay to healthcare professionals. They decrease it.
Right.
So while they take cost of living increases,
Mm-hmm.
they cut physicians, and they just come in and they're going to cut. So you've got all these factors at work in here, and then you throw a scamdemic in, and they're like, whatever they say we'll do,
Yeah,
because in the
because if
past
you-
they've been trustworthy.
Right.
And here it's all
And you can lose your job, lose
garbage.
your license, lose your affiliation with a
they
hospital
will
or
threaten
whatever.
you. They will send you letters. They will tell you that they will take away your livelihood. They have told people I know very well that you will lose your privileges if you do not do this because
Yeah.
of the CMS mandate.
Right.
So now I have stupid masking signs up at the entrance to hospitals. So Chris will just put it around his neck. It's garbage, and y'all know it.
Right. They
It's
do.
complete garbage. Sorry, but I need them to watch
Right.
this.
And there's probably a few who don't know it. I mean, they just believe it and just.
So,
But
thank you.
but I think the majority of
Tell
them
the
knew.
truth and shame the devil, okay?
Absolutely. But I do think
Sorry.
they knew.
Yeah.
And they were worse than me having to go to the physical
I'm sorry.
that I
they
had
are.
to get, and
Because
you've
people
shamed
died.
me.
They did die.
People
Yes,
died.
they did.
Children lost their childhood, not to be dramatic, but they did. Teen suicides, like the domino ripple effect of what these doctors that know better allowed to happen. I mean, I hate to say it, but the blood's on their hands. It really is. And now that all this is coming out, it's like,
Oh, and there's all kinds of information now trickling out about what was the one I saw today that if you didn't take the vaccines, you spread COVID less
then
than the people who did.
Yes.
The people who did take it are contagious longer than the people who didn't.
Yes.
Isn't that great? So all the stuff that they said about, you're going to spread less, you're going to save your family, protect your family. If you took them, you now are contagious longer than someone who never took them, which is a weird thing,
Very
isn't
weird.
it?
Well, and what about all the health problems people are having?
Oh, there's
About all
there's
the,
scary.
I mean, this
no
is the
doubt.
thing
That is
that's
scary.
terrifying is that you see these young men. You saw the reality star last night or the night before. I don't even know how long ago. He was very young.
oh, the
that
survivor
died.
guy?
Yeah. I mean, these people are dying or they're having significant health problems. How much longer are they going to be able to cover that up?
There's multiple countries that are still having more people die than they're supposed to have. They're way ahead of the charts, and they're like, we can't figure out what's causing it. We have no idea. What could be the common thing? I'm like, really? How long is this going to take? How long are all these places going to be in denial? And eventually we're going to find it all out.
But the pride and the money and the ego and these people will never admit. They will double down before they actually admit.
Well, then they need something else to come along.
Unless you can make some money off
to blame it on. What if you can blame it on? Let's see, what was another one? So you got monkeypox, and there's something else that's making some huge resurgent.
Well, they blamed it on blood clots on climate change. Remember that?
Oh, I didn't remember
Which
that
really
one. Climate
makes
change, really?
Yeah, the heat wave was causing, and climate change was causing all the blood clots.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that one. That one's great.
Yeah, y'all keep talking. I'm gonna see if I can find it. It was pretty desperate.
I mean, let's just pretend. I mean, because really it boils back down to our policies, and the people who are head of these alphabet agencies are narcissists. And narcissists never apologize. They never can admit they've done wrong. They don't even have the capacity to see that they have done wrong.
Well, if you admit you did wrong in this case, you're not talking about, well, yeah, I painted the house the wrong color.
Right.
The shade was too dark or too light.
You're talking about people's lives.
You're talking about people's lives. Absolutely. Livelihoods. I mean, this is a big one.
It's huge.
And maybe there's liability. So they've probably got people saying, never say a word.
Right.
And just go on with it.
Like pinky swear, until you die. We're never going to talk about it.
Never going to say it.
Yeah. No matter how much evidence is produced.
Did you find it?
No, I'll find it.
You find it for next week?
I want to jump back in because.
Okay.
Did you go last? Was that your talk? Oh, monkeypox. Okay, so what's on your mind? What's up?
Okay. So I can't decide which one I'm going to talk about. Sorry about that. How about this? We were talking earlier about the Gulf Shores mayor saying there's not going to be death boats off the side. But I noticed nationally there's also some ridiculousness going on. Governor Whitmer in Michigan voted to take away $20 million from pro-life communities, from the crisis pregnancy centers and other agencies that help women. And so she did a line item veto, and it had been set aside for crisis pregnancy centers. And she said, no,
we'll just strike it out.
So it included a $10 million marketing program promoting adoption over abortion, 3 million organizations that promote childbirth and alternatives to abortion, and $100,000 designated for the legal defense of a ban on gender reassignment surgeries or therapies while people are in state prisons. So this is horrific to me, and I thought that was interesting that across the country you're just seeing this complete backlash against pro-life. And I was very bothered that she took away. She's not just anti-abortion. She's truly pro-choice, and that's not pro-women.
Or she's pro-abortion.
Yeah, she's pro-abortion,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
she is not pro-women, because if she were pro-women,
would be for all these things. Wouldn't she be for a choice?
Yes. And they're not.
If she was really pro-woman, wouldn't she at least be saying, hey, well, some women might need these pro-life centers and a helping hand and all of those sorts of things. But no, I think you're right. She's pro-abortion.
Right.
How evil do you have to be? I mean, can we call her evil? I will call her evil.
Pretty wicked.
I think she's evil. She's pretty bad. I said years ago that she is well, now it's kind of bad, but she's a Disney movie witch.
Kind of evil.
From the old days.
Like her
now the
style.
witch is probably the hero and all that kind of stuff. But she's tough.
Yeah.
And
her eyes are a little crazy.
She does have crazy eyes. But it just was an interesting update, because as this happens, that's going to become more common. I don't think that it will happen in Alabama because we are so pro-life and decidedly so. But it'll be very interesting to see what crops up in our state with people who are trying to give women access to abortion.
How divided are we going to end up? I mean, it's like every day I wake up and there's more of a dividing line between what I consider our side, conservative, Christian, patriotic, pro-American, that side, Western civilization, Christendom, and the other side, which is humanism, paganism, abortion, transgenderism, homosexuality. Let's dare say bestiality. That's where the furries are going.
This is a great lead into my next talk.
Well, I was planning that.
I don't know how you do.
It's a great segue.
But this goes along with what you're saying, because I don't know where it ends. It's kind of like, a lot of even pro-choice people will say the reason Roe was overturned was because they took it too far. It wasn't just a heartbeat, up until 6 or 9 weeks. It's because we wanted to be able to deliver the baby and leave it for dead and it still be legal. So we are pushing the envelope. It is freaky, the world we're living in. It's like Sodom and Gomorrah and a pagan Roman Empire, and we're there. Like, there is no more, this is a post-Christian world.
Right. No, I agree with you.
And did you all hear about the piece on the New York Times wrote about cannibalism?
Yes.
I saw that,
Okay.
but I didn't read it all. So what did it say?
Basically, it says Twitter disgusted by New York Times piece suggesting there's a time and a place for cannibalism. I mean, maybe if you're the Donner Party, maybe.
Right.
Baby?
Are we saving the planet with cannibalism, or which one are we doing?
Users blasted the piece for seemingly normalizing the grisly practice of eating human flesh. The piece was called "A Taste for Cannibalism," written by Alex Beggs. And it said the article provided insight into cannibalism's growing relevance in pop culture, especially in a spat of recent stomach-churning books, and touted one author's assertion that cannibalism's time is now. You have a major publication, a crap one, but a major one, normalizing cannibalism. Like, what?
One of the
In the
things.
world.
Maybe Hillary Clinton does eat babies.
Well, the spirit.
I don't know.
The spirit cooking thing sure doesn't look.
I'm
as far
telling
out there
you,
as
it
did.
doesn't. The New York Times is talking about that we should be eating each other.
One of the things I saw
Not just
talking
crickets.
about that was saying one of the lines from it, or one of the arguments about cannibalism, is that, well, there's other cultures that it's okay in. Isn't that kind of how we start down all these crazy
Yes, it
roads?
is.
Oh,
Yes.
other people do it. So
Yeah.
what's to make you say, oh, it's your Christianity stuff. It's your religious stuff. That's why you don't want to. That's why you're against cannibalism, which automatically makes the left for it. Whatever they can decide that the West, Christianity, whiteness, European, whatever that is, they're for the opposite thing.
I mean,
And that's where we are.
it terrifies me because if you had told me 10 years ago, any of us, that there would be a portion of America that would legitimately defend and lobby and advocate for people to think they're wolves or cats or dogs.
Right.
And all the people that are marrying. Did y'all see the girl in Europe and England that married her model airplane?
Oh, come
yes.
on.
I remember the name of
And
the
then
plane.
the-
We said it on the
What
show.
are
And
you
then the
guys reading that I'm missing?
The Japanese guy that married the blow up doll.
Of course, the Japan. Really?
Y'all.
I saw the one
was
that
it
married the little anime, the
Avatar.
anime
Yeah.
avatar thing, right?
Could you imagine our parents in the 1950s or grandparents
Well, okay,
if
let me
we
ask
told
you this,
them?
and I'm being serious. If you
Okay.
could come in next week and say, you know what, I've decided I'm a guy. I feel like a guy, I'm a guy. Well, how is that really different from a psychological standpoint than if you came in and said, I'm a cat?
It's not.
It's not.
Because you're not a guy
It's not.
and you're not a cat.
It's not.
So
But
they're exactly
it.
the
It's
same.
a slippery slope.
Right.
Hey, we should be eating cicadas. Oh, now we should be eating.
I mean, it's great until they turn on you.
That's a good reason for diets, because if you're like scrawny, everybody's like,
Yeah, they're
there's
like,
no-
nah.
there's nothing there.
No.
And you can think you're a tree. You can marry your table. Like, what the heck?
Well, what is marriage? So I mean,
Y'all. And Tommy Tuberville.
what did he do? Did he
Come
change his mind?
on.
No,
Is he doubling down?
He said he doesn't really care. It's a free country. You should be able to, whatever. He's basically said, whatever, I'm for gay marriage. I don't know if he'll vote for it. And then Richard Shelby came out and said marriage is between a man and a woman, which I'm like, when Richard Shelby is showing you up, you got issues.
You
When
got
Shelby's
big
to the right.
problems.
When Shelby
Come
is to the
on.
right. But it's like Tuberville did with the vaccines. He was so squishy on the vaccines, and he is drafting our daughters. He voted for that. And how squishy he was with Jackson, the Supreme Court nominee, where he was like, I'm going to listen to her.
Right.
No, You heard she can't define a woman. You
Right.
should cross her off your list.
Right.
I mean, so whoever
Anyway.
would like to run against him, go ahead and get ready.
So what is marriage? I don't know. Call Tuberville. I guess he's thinking about
Well,
it.
I'm just trying to think of all the things. One of the things that we talk about on my radio program is how many times can they lie to us? And where is the limit on the lies? They're redefining what a recession is.
Yeah.
So 2 consecutive quarters of the gross domestic product falling. That's no longer a recession.
No,
Because it's going to be
apparently
under
not.
the Biden administration. So,
Yeah.
so they've changed the definition of recession. Merriam-Webster on the online dictionary changed the definition of male and female and women and men or whatever in the last week or so.
Yes.
They changed the definition of vaccines
Oh,
so
they
that the
did.
mRNA
Yes, they did.
stuff
That's one.
would work. That's one. But then you go back to all these things outside of the lying about COVID, lying about masks, lying about shots, lying about Trump's a Russian agent, lying about Trump should be impeached because he was bullying the Ukrainians to tell them bad stuff about the Bidens. All those things. But where was the big lie that kind of, I think, really got these things going? And I think it's when they told us, convinced us, and the U.S. Supreme Court said marriage, which has always been across cultures, across the centuries, a man and a woman, the agreement, and that's who's going to take care of the children and have children. That is the nuclear family. And they came along and said, no, that definition is not real. It's just two. Is it only two? 2, 3, how many people? That there's no real definition of marriage other
Yeah.
than folks who just want to hang out with each other all the
Right.
time.
Right.
Because we've got the movement in Utah now for
Yeah.
polygamy.
So, like, could I marry my cat?
You could marry your cat.
I think you can.
Like, would I get a...
I don't know if they'll give you,
You know
a
what? I'll get
certificate,
an
but why
online
not?
certificate, and I'll let you marry your
What
cat.
if your cat thinks it's a person? Then it's okay, right?
Which my cat does think she's a person.
Yes.
Geppetto.
I think that, the marriage issue, the gay marriage issue started in California in the 90s, did it not? It was kind of slowly simmering out there around 1994.
Yeah.
And it really has fallen apart since then. And so really it kind of comes back to one of the themes from this show and people who are fighting against culture, and that is, what is truth?
Right.
Because it is knowable and it is livable and it's objective or subjective. But that's what we have to fight for. And that's what, in conversation, like you were talking about before the show, there are certain terms where they'll throw them out and we have to say we absolutely reject that.
Right. We're just not
We
going to agree.
forget that we can do that. I forget that I can do that
Well, it's
in a
'cause it's
conversation with
confrontational
somebody.
a little bit.
It is confrontation. It is. And yet then it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. But I think you're right. I think the whole dismantling of culture started with, gay marriage.
And
is where it
maybe
seemed to start.
before that, that's where it really accelerated. Maybe we started losing it because while you were talking, I was thinking maybe we lost it when we said,
The 60s.
you don't really need a mom and a dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dad's kind of, you don't really need dad. So the families became just single moms.
Right.
Well,
And
and,
then-
the government
maybe we started
incentivized
losing it
single
when we
families.
said,
They sure did.
when we said, well, you don't really have to be true to your spouse. We got all these crazy anti-adultery laws. That's unconstitutional. And we started striking those down a long time ago. So we started striking down morality out of our laws decades ago.
Yes.
And then we probably accelerated it when they're like, I cannot believe we won this. This is amazing. And now we have
Cannibalism.
furries and cannibalism.
But that's the slippery slope. Like, once
Yeah.
you get going, you can't stop.
Well,
Unless-
where do you say the stopping point
Right.
is when you no longer have any truth?
Right.
It's just whatever feels
Whatever,
good for you.
yeah.
It's good. Let's just do it. And then it shows up on social media all day long, and thousands of little kids trying to figure out their way in the world say, I think that's me. Wow. Gracious.
Do
Who
we
would
have
thunk
time
it?
for another round, or what time?
I
what
think
are we-
I think it's about time to wrap it up.
Oh, wow.
Can I end on one good one?
You can end on a good
Yes.
one and close us out.
Okay, this is
Yes,
close us out. That's
Yes.
scary. Okay, this is a life hack, y'all.
Ooh, I
so
like those.
I don't know. I just found out about it because my daughter's doing this. Auburn and Alabama, I don't know where to look, both have this new program. Auburn's program is called Auburn First.
I thought you were going to say Auburn Furry. I really thought you were going to. When the fur came out, I was like, okay. I hope it's a training
That's
program for mascots.
probably there. So my daughter's part of the Auburn Furry plan.
Okay.
What if I was like, Okay, anyway, no. It's legitimately called Auburn First. If they
okay.
have a furry club, I don't know about it.
Right.
I bet they do, though.
You think?
No, I'm sure
No, I mean,
they
it's
do.
at a university.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Right.
they do.
I bet they do. And Alabama has their same program. But basically, the way it works is you can. So, like this summer, she's taken 2 online classes through Auburn. And if you can take 6 hours and maintain a 3.0, and you're an Alabama resident,
Mhm.
you can have automatic admission into the university.
Really?
Yes.
So you
So-
don't have to take the ACT.
No, you still can for all the scholarship stuff.
Right.
But Sweet Jennings, who has like a 4.0, whatever, cannot take tests. Like the first time she took the
Mm-hmm.
ACT, she threw up in the middle of it, had to run out, yacked
Aw.
everywhere. Like,
I totally understand.
okay. I mean, she's like, Mom, what's wrong with me? I'm like, you are a head case. It does just go in there, and she
Right.
can't do it. She cannot do it. And we were working through it. But I was like, Auburn First. Hey, you can get in, and I don't know, I guess you'll have to get a job when you're there. But like for a lot of kids, that takes off a lot of the pressure from just the performance part of it. You can still take the ACT. You can still apply for all the scholarships.
Right.
But that is she has several friends that are doing it. You can also do dual enrollment and get some of your classes done when you're in high school. And if you decide you don't want to go to Auburn or Alabama, all those classes transfer.
That's
So
good.
she'll be on the first round of acceptance and she won't have to worry about it her senior year. Like she's ready to move on. I'm like, I don't know what it means. I don't know if it's a function of like failing enrollment, like lowering if they're trying to give.
Or what they're trying to do. Right.
Right. If they're trying to give Alabama students first priority.
Maybe they're trying to keep people from going to the junior college and saving their family gajillions of dollars. Just go ahead. We'll take you.
Yeah. Well, my oldest
good
son
idea.
is he's doing Path to the Plains. So he's taking classes at Southern Union for 2 years.
Right.
He also takes classes at the same time at Auburn. So,
Okay.
so he is doing that. And it's kind of genius. It's good for him because he would have been eaten alive had he walked into Auburn. Again, he takes, probably 4 out of 6 classes at Southern Union and then 2 at Auburn. So, and he has
what's that one called?
He has a Tiger card. He has everything. He has gets into all the games. He has all the privileges of Auburn, but we pay Southern Union prices.
Oh,
that's
really?
great.
It's called Path to the Plains.
That's a good idea.
And they have maybe
I'll
like
give them credit for that one.
15 different majors right now, and it's growing every year. It's perfect for kids like that.
Brilliant.
Connor
Right.
is not.
Well, the university system is so expensive
Yeah.
too.
It really is. Well,
kinda crazy.
and the good news is across the country, we noticed when we were doing school for Will, and really with Wesley, but for Will, more and more schools across the country are not necessarily asking you to take the SAT or ACT anymore.
Yeah.
I can't speak
Right.
to what the classes are that they may be doing that are like Auburn and Alabama, but I thought that was very encouraging because they really are looking at grades, at activities, at the letter that you write for admissions.
Yeah.
How
They're
oppressive
really
your
going back
ancestors were.
to going back to look at the whole person rather than a number on a piece of
Right.
paper, which we're so much more than that.
That might be
So I think
one of
it's a
the
great
good
thing.
fallouts of COVID. Was it
I
kind of
think
got
so.
everybody back
Even
to
statistically, they said that the admission test is a great predictor of performance there, because if they can't take the test to get in, they're still going to freak out about the test
so
Mm-hmm.
Jennings
at college.
is not going to make it.
No, she's going to make it because she's going to get over it. She's going to
Yeah.
realize I've still got all these tests,
Yeah.
and but it was a good predictor.
Mm-hmm.
So now what they're going to kind of do is, and everybody will have a better grade point average. It'll be like Georgia when they had the scholarship
Yeah.
program,
Yeah.
and you only had to have a B. Miraculously, almost everybody in the state they all had Bs.
Isn't that crazy?
So I think it's going to be some of that stuff.
Yeah,
There's a lot of politics in that new
I agree.
program where they can say, we're full of you folks.
Yeah.
As you said earlier.
Well, I just had to put that
got
out
all
there.
you
I think it's
folks are
awesome
good.
Like
news.
something
That is good.
that most parents don't know about.
Right.
I just kind of
no, that is really good because we have a bunch of kids that we know that are stressed out about,
Yeah.
hey, am I going to make well enough on this test to get in to go to Auburn or Alabama or wherever it is they want to go? And that's huge.
Yeah.
I'll give them credit.
Yeah.
You go ahead and say it. Why?
He can't even say it. He can't
was
bring
giving
himself
you-
to say
giving
to
your
cheer.
Oh, I
opening.
thought you were saying I wasn't going to be able to do
No,
the
I'm
take
saying
us
go
out.
ahead
I was
and
like,
say
'cause I
it.
always
Go,
have to read it.
"Whoa."
What, War Eagle?
Yes, you're
Okay.
supposed to say, whatever. Hey, thank you for watching the program today. This has been Alabama Unfiltered. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's a little bit different than some of the shows that we have done, just hitting some of the topics that we're interested in this week. Ladies, thank you very much. Don't forget to check us out on all the different places that you find your podcast. Tell your friends and family about it. We are powered by 1819 News. Please go over there, sign up for their newsletters and their daily updates and bulletins. You can
Yes.
find all those things. So thank you for watching. We'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.